This is Kickin and Streamin podcast. Here are your hosts, Graham and Jocelyn.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Kickin and Streamin podcast. My name is Graham, and with me today is the very fantastic Jojo. Jojo, ¿cómo está usted, mi amiga?
Howdy do.
That will do. How did you? That will do.
Howdy do.
No, but seriously, Jojo, how was your day? How is everything?
This day sucked, honestly. You know, like the there's a saying, I don't know if it's biblical or not, but the saying like all is well with my soul. I'm the opposite. All is not well with my soul, and I don't really have a reason for it. It's just one of those like feelings down inside of you that something's wrong and sucks, and yeah. So all is not well with my soul. So I'm gonna embroider that on a pillow.
All is not well in my soul. Hey, people will come to your house and see that on a pillow, one of the little pillows on your sofa, and they'll be like, "Damn, man, this lady has problem."
She's crazy.
But today we are discussing a movie that has been on Amazon Prime for the better part of almost 3 months now. If I can, right, Jojo? I mean, it was there since like before the end of 2020.
Yes.
And it's a very unassuming movie based on thumbnail and whatever, unless you go deeper and do a bit of a research, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think that it's starting to come to a lot of people's attentions with the nominations and the award circuits that's happening right now. And deservedly so, in my opinion, after having seen the movie.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I read a New Yorker article about the process of Riz Ahmed, the actor, went through doing this movie to actually experience deafness. And I thought it was incredibly interesting. So why don't we just let people in on what movie we're talking about today?
We forget that sometimes. It's okay.
I know, right?
We're talking about The Sound of Metal, and it's available on Amazon Prime. It has been for a few months,
Yes.
as we said earlier, but it is starting to get nominated in some of the awards circuits, and some buzz is happening, and I think it's great that it is, because this was a phenomenal movie, and I'll be honest, I watched it today and did the ugly cry. So
Did you, George?
I did. I haven't ugly cried at a movie in a long time. I've gotten like weepy, and this was the whole thing where the dog's looking at me like, are you okay?
What's wrong with her, dude? Like, yo.
Who hurt her? Does she need a treat?
The dog's like, here, have a treat.
That's all I have to give, but I'll give it to you.
That is mad funny. Jojo, so with that said, would you just put it into context for our audience? What is this movie, Sound of Metal, about?
It is about a young man whose name is Ruben, and he very, very suddenly has phenomenal and profound hearing loss, and eventually goes deaf. And it is about the journey of him as a musician, a drummer, dealing with that, dealing with the fact that he is a recovering addict, and dealing with sort of the reaction of his band members, group mates, life partner, and his experience with just trying to learn how to live again, essentially.
Yes. And it sounds pretty uncomplicated, when we synopsize it that way, because, what else happens. But that's the thing. It's the things that happen in between and where the story go, the way the story finds itself, and as you see the main character himself find himself, with this new life experience. And so I have to ask Jojo, what is your plain basic opinion of this movie?
I thought it was phenomenal. It's a very quiet movie, and not just in sound,
Yeah.
but it's in its story presentation. It's not over the top. It's not hugely dramatic or anything like that. It is as if a very good friend of yours who's a very good storyteller sat down across from you and told you the story of this young man's life.
Yes.
And it is so it's so touching and so beautiful. And Riz Ahmed brings so much to this part. I have seen him in other things, and kind of wasn't impressed. I'll be honest. I saw him in Venom and was like, okay. I mean, not that Venom was a great movie anyway, but so to see the growth from an actor that I wasn't really a big fan of to begin with was just phenomenal for me. And the chemistry and the relationship between himself and the actress who plays his girlfriend in the movie, Olivia Cook, who I am a big fan of. It's just a lovely movie about the human experience and the fact that you can do good things, you can do everything quote unquote right, and something can still happen from out of the blue. The bus can still jump the curb and hit you on the sidewalk type thing. It's what you do afterwards and how you deal with the here and now. And I love this movie, and I feel like you could almost use it as a metaphor for life, not just for hearing loss.
You're absolutely right. This movie has the sense that the proverbial life comes at you fast. And again, it's a matter of, how you deal with that from that point on. And everything you said about this movie is exactly what I was thinking about. There's a almost the kind of silence you experience in this movie is the one that doesn't bore you. It's a silence that you want more of. And it is an amazing thing to do with movie, right? Because movie is about seeing action, and part of the action is, of course, voices and noises and stuff. So when there is this incredibly intense silence, and as the viewer, you're perfectly okay with that, somebody's doing something right, isn't it?
Yes. I feel like the sound design team behind this, the mixer, the editor, I hope that they win all of the awards, or nominated for all of the awards and win all of the awards, because it's what they do is so beautifully nuanced in bringing to life for a hearing person what it is like to lose your hearing.
Yes.
And also what it is like to have your hearing. There's points in the soundtrack, and I don't mean musically, but where things are sort of amplified just a little bit, like coffee brewing and that sort of thing, that makes you go, these are things I take for granted. Yes. This is something that I don't even think about, that happens to me, but once it's gone, it's gone. Yeah. And that's a part of my life that, while maybe not necessary for living, and some would argue not even necessary for enrichment, but if it's something that you have had your entire life, you are going to miss it.
Yes. That switch on and off of the sound, it gives you that sense, like, wow. Because there are moments also where you feel Ruben's desperation, because even though you can hear what he's being told, his reaction to being unable to hear, you can feel it, and you feel that anxiety. Like it's almost as if you too didn't hear it.
Yes.
Because he
Yes.
didn't hear it, you too did not hear it. And
Yes.
so you want it repeated to him, but this time you want him to be able to hear it. And then you feel like repeat it again. So when he's saying repeat, I can't hear you, you get that feeling. And I was happy to know that he didn't pretend to be to be deaf, but rather he actually wore implants that it literally took about 80% of his ability to hear for about 16 hours a day. Riz Ahmed, in this particular sense, for me, he is doing an homage to every person who has gone deaf, or any person who is deaf. And so this was a beautiful thing, because I've never had hearing loss, and if I've ever had any, it's probably more over dramatized in my head than this particular case. And I felt it, and I was able to get there and feel the anxiety, the desperation, and the what next? What do I do next? How do I get over this? So this is a beautiful movie in every sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. I've as a subject matter, it's not something that I think the typical person would think would make a great movie, a phenomenal movie even. But it works. It works on so many levels. It works because of his performance. It works because of the phenomenal work with the audio and the sound in this, and it works because it's told with such humanity, such a part of the human condition.
Yes, that's how I feel. But I also want to talk about these part of the movie where most of the action happened, which is when Ruben goes to this community of addicts who happen to be deaf. And the reason I love this is because I remember watching another movie where a young girl who I think she was autistic, and she had a huge fight with her dad, who was incredibly overprotective. And the last words that she said to the dad is like, "Stop trying to fix me," right? And so I love all of the context in which everything fell into place in this movie about this community, because it helped you to understand that the point of them being together was about fixing the addiction, but not about fixing the being deaf, because that is something they were willing to live with, they had learned to live with, and they had learned to love themselves being deaf. So that was powerful. That was incredibly powerful for me.
Yeah, you really kind of get to see his epiphany there, and I think for the audience, there's an epiphany for the audience too, because we are talking about ableism, and it's a very important subject to tackle, because the deaf community, for the most part, there is, from what I understand, they're very much we're not interested in getting implants, that we are the way we are, and there's nothing wrong with us. It is what it is, essentially, and accept us as for what we are. Don't try to fix us. And I think that this movie presented that in such a way that those of us who aren't familiar with that thought process are able to grasp and understand and go, yeah, that makes sense, but without feeling like you were being dumbed down or at any point.
Yes, and this is why I think we need more of this kind of content to be presented. And this is why disabled actors and disabled athletes have always contested the notion of an able-bodied person playing a certain character, because they bring more audience to the movie or to the show. But that's all there is to it. Like there are disabled actors that can do the work.
Yes. One little note about the movie that I thought was lovely. I watched it with closed captioning because I have to, because I've lost most of my left ear. But the closed captioning, I don't know ASL. I'm trying to learn it, but I don't completely know everything about ASL. So for closed captioning in the scenes where Ruben is first introduced, and everyone around him is speaking ASL to one another, and he has no idea what's going on. Closed captioning does not translate that for you.
That is true.
So, and you're lost as much as he is, or I was, unless you speak ASL. So I actually thought that was a very lovely immersive way to do that, because for those of us who are hearing but need a little extra help, there was nothing for ASL. There was down the road though when he learned it. Once he learned ASL, it was there, and I just thought that was lovely.
Yes. I thought about that. Like, I don't understand what's going on, but I didn't see it that way. Now that you say it, it makes perfect sense, right? Like, yeah, I mean, if he can't understand, he's the person we need to focus on. He doesn't know what's going on. You shouldn't either.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should be in his shoes, basically. That's powerful, Jojo. Yeah, man. So, Jojo, before we get into the cast, what other points were sort of like important to you here?
When I had my first breakdown is when it gets to the point where he and his girlfriend Lou, she realizes she needs to leave.
Yeah.
And she leaves, and he is telling her that, he is still in the pathos of having lost over 80% of his hearing. And he is telling her, that she is his heart.
Yes.
And but at the same time, you understood, like she'd gotten to the point where she was, I have to go and I have to do this, and you have to figure this out. This is not anything I can hold your hand through. I can't make you go to this camp. I found it for you. I did what I could to get you to this process that's going to help you, but you're the one who's going to have to make the ultimate decision and get yourself there. Because if I drag you there, this isn't going to work. And the only way for me to make you help yourself, for you to save yourself, I have to leave. And I just, that was just lovely.
I think this moment also, this is one of two moments that I'm going to pick on. But I love it that you went there, because you can see why you're dealing with an addict in Ruben, because the entire idea for Ruben is, I need to find myself an enabler, right? I cannot do things without an enabler, whether it's a good thing, whether it's a bad thing. I need an enabler. And I'm not saying that he doesn't truly love Lou. He does love Lou, and she is his heart. But Ruben would have preferred that she stayed there and, as you said, held his hand through things and telling him everything is gonna be okay. You don't need to do the other thing, you know. And Lou, it was a very mature thing for her to do. Like, no, dude, I'm out, and I'm not abandoning you.
No.
But I know that you're not gonna do this shit if I stay around. So you
Yes.
gotta go. You know, I gotta go.
Yes.
And the other moment was also this last conversation with what was the guy's name? Joe?
Joe? Yes, Joe.
Yeah. When he told him, and that was beautiful because that's what it is. Yo, I don't know what you think you're doing, but right now you do sound like an addict.
Yeah.
You know, you sound like an addict. This is what you're doing, and all the things you're doing. The whole idea of I want to fix this. How do I fix that? Is because that's what bring addiction is. No, you can't deal with things that need a long-term solution or no solution at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it is amazing that a movie that is about not music but about the circumstances in the life of a musician has so little to do with music, but rather with silence and quiet talk. It was so beautiful.
Yes.
So
Yes.
cast-wise, this was a small movie, wasn't it?
It was very small cast. And I loved all of them.
Yeah.
Riz Ahmed, of course, was marvelous as Ruben, and Olivia Cook was beautiful as Lou. And then was it Paul Racy who was Joe?
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's just a small cast, a few other folks, but
Yeah. I mean, none that is not that I'm not discounting the work of anybody, but none that is worth spending a lot of time talking about. But yeah, Riz Ahmed, as you said, was impressive, and Olivia Cook had. It could almost be considered as a cameo appearance, if you will.
yes.
You know.
Yeah, I definitely agree. She it was kind of almost a character sketch. I mean, she was great and she was perfect, but the movie was not about her, but that was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's a great actress. I am a big fan of her. She hasn't been in many things, but everything I've seen her in, I've just loved.
That seems to be her vibe, isn't it? Like, I'm not gonna be picking up work everywhere and get people tired of seeing my face, but when they see my face, they're gonna have to remember my face, isn't it?
Yeah.
So with that nomination that we talk about, Riz Ahmed, you know, it sort of like make you wonder, now that we know the movie, now that we've seen the movie, should we pull for him?
I know. Now that I've seen it, I feel like I am pulling for him to win. I'm certainly pulling for him to be nominated for an Oscar,
Yes.
at least. So even if he doesn't win, I hope that it goes on for further nominations and further wins, because he was phenomenal in this.
Yeah, he is. You know, his parents in England must be incredibly proud of him. You know, and I remember in his interview, he said that, you know, when he went into acting, his parents were like not surprised or never against it. Like, they were like, "Yeah, we think you're good." You know what I mean? For any immigrant parents, you know, that's big. You know, my mother visited the hotel when she came for our wedding, for Christine and I's wedding, and she stayed at the hotel where I work, right? And bloody hell, they treated her like she was some kind of royalty, of course, you know, VIP band and all kind of stuff. She's like, why do they take orders from you like that? And I'm like, I'm kind of their boss. And she said, so what are you here, supervisor? I'm like, yeah, I guess if that's what you want to go with, because I don't know that she could ever picture me anywhere higher than that, because I didn't become a pastor or a doctor or whatever, or a lawyer, so I must be some kind of supervisor here. Why did they take orders from you like that? Yeah, that's fine, Mom. That's all right. So yeah, that's the immigrant experience. So I was really surprised, that Riz Ahmed's parents, were supported from the very beginning, because I know that it's a really hard thing. Anyway, Jojo, so what are your last words? What would you tell folks to watch this movie? Why?
Because it's so good, and it's probably not like anything you're thinking. It's like, if you've only seen maybe the trailer, if you've only heard the buzz, or if you've only looked at the thumbnails, you don't really know what this movie is about, and it will maybe make you think, and maybe give you some hope about life.
Yeah, I think we're gonna just that's gonna be it, Jojo. You put it beautifully. So Sound of Metal is not it's not your daddy's movie, but it is a beautiful movie, and you should watch it. And especially now that it's nominated, find out why.
Yes.
I think you will agree that it deserves the nomination that it got.
Yes.
So with that, Jojo, we are going to call it a day, huh? Don't we?
I think so. I think we're done.
Yeah, when the movie is so good and stuff, we don't have that much to talk about. A 30-minute podcast tells you what you need to say. We're not going to oversell it or whatever. In the end, you know what? Just watch the movie. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. Like, I don't give a fuck. All right, so you can find us, of course, on social media: Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, and also our YouTube channel. When you go through and check out what we have there, the content that we have there, how about you go ahead and subscribe?
Yes.
Right? And then at the same time, bing, hit that little bell so that when we post new content, boom, you get stuff. Right, Jojo?
It's important to get stuff.
It's important.
It's important. And also things. Things are important too.
Things and stuff. Right?
Yes.
You can find Jocelyn on Instagram as
Jocelyn Podcast.
And then you'll find me, Mr. Puzzetta, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. MRPUZZETTA, MRPUZZETTA. So for me and for Jocelyn, this is goodbye, folks. Have a good one.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Kickin Streamin podcast. If you found value in our content, please subscribe and share. We would also be delighted to hear what you think of this podcast. So please rate us by writing a quick review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on all major social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Join the conversation happening today on our Facebook group.